Hello everyone, and welcome to the first video of the SSX Community Poll, ranking the 3 best tracks and 3 worst tracks for each game. All opinions were collected anonymously, and the Google Forms were promoted in the SSX Discord and posted on Reddit. The forms for SSX On Tour and SSX Blur are still open for voting, and links to them will be in the description. The goal with the forums were to gather as many opinions as possible. We are starting with the very first SSX game. All tracks that are available in single event, world circuit, and free ride were options. This means that warm-up was not available. In total, 22 people voted. To rank the tracks, a point system was used, meaning 3 points for first place, 2 points for second place, and 1 point for third. For the worst tracks, negative numbers were used, such as -3 for worst and -1 for the third worst track. I gave priority to lengthier comments, meaning someone who ranked the best track as third best might be featured. As a disclaimer, I just want to say that I did vote in all the polls, but my opinions are not included in the video. If you are curious, they will be in the description. Once all videos are done, I will make a spreadsheet with all answers and calculations made public. That way you can read the comments I did not include in the video. Now, let's get started. And the third worst track, with -25 points, is Mesa Blanca. And the first comment of the video is as follows. The computer player's alright, minus the first shortcut when they turn off into narrow bridge. However, they have surprised me with shortcuts such as the third shortcut before the cave, when jumping over adverbs. The jumps encourage getting good height, but a few of them will lead you directly into a ceiling if you hit them too high. Again, the shortcuts mean that you will crush the competition, but you'll spend a lot of time on your face before you're good enough to expect to hit those shortcuts. Some of them are brutal. Mesa Blanca. It doesn't flow well. A lot of the turns are hard to take smoothly and efficiently. The obstacles and gimmicks are kind of obnoxious, and the shortcuts are very odd and hard to pull off with any sense of style as well. You usually just flop/crash through them. A lot of the same problems from the game overall, while way less noticeable. Small bumps in the flow, and overall not the most enjoyable ride. Doesn't shine in either race or show off too well. Mesa Blanca is a very experimental feeling track, and it's a mid-tier map. Mesa's better side is clearly racing. Show off in Mesa is a bit painful, at least especially after the second checkpoint. The rock section in Show Off might be the single worst track decision in the entire series. Lots of issues. Jumps leading into obstacles, buggy shortcuts, and obstacles that are tedious rather than fun. Carried by creative shortcuts and good pacing. And those were some of the opinions on Mesa Blanca. And now we move on to the second worst track of the game. With -28 points, we find Tokyo Megaplex. Moving on to the first opinion for Tokyo, and it goes as follows. Tokyo Megaplex is filled with obstacles to the point where it feels very unnecessarily cluttered. Often crashing into obstacles is very annoying, and the fact that NPCs can toggle these obstacles adds to the RNG factor. The lap concept is pretty good, but the track suffers from too much obstacles, and there's not a lot of ways to go around them most of the time. Another person thought that there's far too much luck. The smoothness of your ride is determined by the AI riders hitting buttons or not hitting buttons. The free lap system makes the charm of another rider screwing you over in that goofy way wear off fast. And the lack of path diversity makes the 12 lap requirement irritating. Gets boring after the first lap and you do all the secrets or watch the ones you set up get screwed by the AI. As a kid, it was a crazy spectacle, but as an adult, I get worn out seeing the same things 3 times each race, or 9 times really when going through World Circuit. The laps on the course can rather cause some burnout at times, even doing Tricky's infamous glitch. So much in the OG Tokyo Megaplex was bordering on game breaking, like wormholing very easily and then crashing through the obstacles. Character would reset too much and the triggers sometimes just didn't work. There's a lap dependency, I'm well aware, but it's just too frustrating to play sometimes. Annoying to navigate, not a huge fan of circuit courses as opposed to sprints. The colors are really pretty, but that's all about the good things to say. The layout is unforgiving and it's a chore to slog through the track 3 times. And now it's time. We've arrived at the worst track of the first SSX game. At minus 30 points, we find Pipe Dream. Let's unveil some opinions about Pipe Dream. Pipe Dream just lacks too many fun aspects to it. It has okay show-off elements, but the rather steep, consistent downhill makes it relatively tedious to try to do much in, while having next to no real enjoyment to race down, either with it being more or less a straight line. None of the tracks in this game are actually ruinous or totally despised, but Pipe Dream just feels too bland and distant from all the other tracks. The idea is quite nice, having it enclosed, I mean, but it's upstaged by its successors in my opinion. Maybe I just like racing. I'm not at all accountable for this. Certainly others will disagree with me, but I thought it's the least interesting track to play for the last 12 years or so. This next person said, Pipe Dream is a 3 out of 5 track at its finest parts. The track is only designed for show-off and therefore it's not racing viable at all. The track is essentially all downhill, so tracking back is very hard and from some points literally impossible. If you go down too far when you are low on points, you're resorted to farming points from a single jump near the finish line, and the ending comes very abruptly. It's very linear with few deviations from the main track, and the only thing really going for it is the facilitating of huge tricks, which gets old pretty quick in my opinion. Fine as a free ride course, but too short for the score requirements in show-off, somewhat poorly connected and the difficulty for difficulty's sake in certain spots. Maybe too short and not enough set pieces to make the track fun. Bad memories of show-off. Boring. The layout is cool, but accessing all corners of the track is a pain and it feels too linear. So there you have it! Those were the worst 3 tracks of SSX OG. And now we're gonna move on to the best tracks. Now we're gonna start off with the 3rd best track of SSX OG. With 23 points, we have Aloha Ice Jam. The line for best time is challenging, but it's so satisfying when you get it. It's a track that for me is synonymous with victory and finishing a world circuit. More objectively, the design is really unique compared to the other tracks and it takes the most constant concentration to do well in, which I really enjoy. It feels less like a snowboarding game in parts, I grant you. The computer players are great at this track. While the reset near the end is annoying, I always have fun on this course, especially when racing against the computer players. Really well balanced difficulty and a lot of cool set pieces and obstacles. Aloha Ice Jam is a solid all-around track, in my opinion quite underrated. Does not feature a show-off event, even though it would work good for a show-off event as well. The track is lacking a lot of potential from the fact that it's used only for racing and show-off being completely neglected. And to wrap up Aloha, we have some love quotes of 2 opinions. First one says, love the teki shortcut, and the other one says, I really love the penguins. Also, there is so much fun stuff. It literally is the best. Let's continue with the second best track of the game. With 27 points, we have Elysium Alps. Creative level design, memorable shortcuts. Good balance between big jumps, memorable moments, and fun racing straights. Alps will rank as second in scenery and setting while having a less smooth flow to the track near towards the end. Less interesting shortcuts and the ending ruining some of the flow knocks it to second place. Some really massive jumps and the half pipe at the end save a lot of the show-off potential of the track, making it extremely fun to casually go down and do show-off in. Because it's the longest map in the game and it has what I think are the best shortcuts, from the jumping off cliffs to avoid the ice rivers, or the cliffside parkour near the start of the race. Elysium is one of my favorites across the series even. The pipe near the end of the map is sadly filled with annoying glass panes, so it's pretty difficult for racing. The track works nicely for show-off, although it's a bit on the longer side. The racing on this track is pretty brutal, as if you fall off from the fast path you're forced to go through a lot of unnecessary corners. Elysium Alps, lovely track, and it's so long there's a lot to enjoy. Awesome level, the first one I played in the demo. One of the best levels in the game. Settlement is great and the design is perfect. Awesome concepts with crossing paths on different snow types and super great slopes. The carving feels superb and the big airs and kickers are super well placed. It still feels awesome riding in this level, even today, and damn, it is colorful. And last opinion for Elysium? Has a lot to see and do and offers a lot of opportunities for massive speed. The half-pipe section is a bit annoying in this version, but that's really the only glaring issue for me. And now we have finally arrived at the best track of SSX OG. Scoring 37 points is Mercury City. It's the most straightforward track. I think it's easily accessible for beginners, and it's also a fun playground for higher level players. Honestly, speaking as someone who did a lot of playing and TASing with OG, Mercury City has the best flow out of all the tracks, with interesting small shortcuts and Easter eggs, while having good scenery and flow to it. Lots of great show-off potential with lots of fun big jumps and small tricks to it all. Mercury tends to be my personal favorite, as it works consistently and very great for both racing and show-off by a great amount. The track is very diverse, the racing is most fun in the entire game by far, by having a lot of shortcuts and potential for a very high skill ceiling. The show-off feels fun by having a diverse selection of a lot of everything for a single track. The computer players are great at the shortcuts, including the subway and parking lot. The houses in glass are great as it added great depth to the track. As my second favorite shortcuts in the game, plus I enjoyed watching my little brother struggle to follow me on all the rails for the garage. Only reason this isn't higher is that the shortcuts in Tricky from Mercury City work so much better than on OG. The track is still amazingly fun with cuts through buildings and forests, as well as the wide views and massive crowds. The balance and track length is really appealing. Unlike Elysium, it has successive different sections that don't drag on at all. And there you have it. Those were the opinions on the first SSX game, the 3 best tracks and the 3 worst. Did you agree? Disagree? Is the teki shortcut not up to your taste? Are the shortcuts too hard in Mercury? Was Pipe Dream and Tokyo unfairly judged? Let me know your opinions in the comments below. And I hope to see you next time in the SSX Tricky video. Peace out!